Welcome to Fireside on Sarita, a series of presentations on topics related to the Baha'i Faith. And each topic will be coupled with an open forum space for sharing, exploration, discovery, and learning. But before we begin, it is important to acknowledge that we reside on the traditional territories of the Cowichan tribes and the Malahat Nation, here on the west shore of Shawnigan Lake, Vancouver Island, British Columbia, Canada. Welcome, friends, to this, the final of 6 firesides regarding the world of existence, an examination of several paragraphs by Baha'u'llah revealed in the Law-i-Hikmat, the Tablet of Wisdom, in which he expounds about the realities of the world of existence. I was going to do a review of each paragraph, but I think that would be too cumbersome. So suffice it to say that the first part of this dissertation deals with the beginning, the structure of the world of existence, and the second part deals with its utility. At least that's how I kind of see it, in that what is the use of the world of existence? Why does it exist? Why is it useful to us? And we have already examined the 5th paragraph in which it says, "Look at the world and ponder a while upon it. It unveileth the book of its own self before thine eyes, and revealeth that of which the pen of thy Lord the fashioner be all informed hath inscribed therein, hath inscribed therein. It will acquaint thee with that which is within it and upon it, and will give thee such clear explanations as to make thee independent of every eloquent expounder. And that leads us to the final paragraph of these 6 incredible paragraphs, these 6 oceans of understanding. And I think perhaps this may be the vastest of all of the oceans. The understanding of this paragraph is way, way above my pay grade. And I am no one special. I have no particular status. There are no experts in the Baha'i faith. We are all on equal footing when we stand on the shore of this vast ocean of gems. And we can only try, we can only appreciate and love and reflect upon and share what we see from our perspective and point of view, in the hope that it will further everyone's understanding just a little. So that is going to be my purpose. I can't even begin to pretend to understand or in any way interpret this paragraph, but we'll have a look at it. It is quite a remarkable thing. So first of all, let me put that paragraph up for you all to see. Say, nature in its essence is the embodiment of my name, the Maker, the Creator. Its manifestations are diversified by varying causes, and in this diversity there are signs for men of discernment. Nature is God's will and its expression in and through the contingent world. It is a dispensation of providence ordained by the ordainer, the all-wise. Were anyone to affirm that it is the will of God as manifested in the world of being, no one should question this assertion. It is endowed with a power whose reality men of learning fail to grasp. Indeed, a man of insight can perceive naught therein, save the effulgent splendor of our name, the Creator. Say, this is an existence which knoweth no decay, and nature itself is lost in bewilderment before its revelations, its compelling evidences, and its effulgent glory, which have encompassed the universe. There you have it, a very complex paragraph by any standard, just beginning with the grammar. I'm an English teacher, and boy, this is out kind of at the fringes of my understanding of word agreement and so on and so forth. So it's going to be a little difficult to parse this paragraph. But you will notice that it's color-coded. I've taken the primary nouns and the pronouns that refer to those nouns in coordinated colors: green, yellow, red. So the primary nouns that we're going to look at are nature, power and reality, the will of God. And we'll try to weave our way through this because these pronouns kind of crisscross one another. And we have to be very careful that we're not switching which antecedent is being referred to by each pronoun so that we can follow the train of thought through. And what we'll probably do is treat this scientifically, or maybe even mathematically, and we'll try plugging in the possibilities because just to begin with, it's a little unclear as to what exactly Baha'u'llah is referring to when he says nature in this context. Well, what does he mean? Is he referring to the world of existence in its entirety, and that would include living nature? Or is he perhaps referring to living nature, those things that manifest the life force, and therefore animate and replicate and so on and so forth? One of the greatest mysteries of all. And we'll plug both of those ideas in, and we'll try to follow it through and see which makes the most sense. My leaning is towards the fact that Baha'u'llah is talking here about living nature, life, nature in the more classic sense that we think when we go out and take a walk in nature. So from the most insignificant of creatures, as Baha'u'llah put it, to the most complex of creatures, we human beings, we are all expressions within this bracket of nature. So all plants, everything from the simplest bacterium to us. And of course, we depend quite a bit on bacteria, so we don't want to demean bacteria by any stretch. And let's have a look at it. I will fade away here and let you have a look again at the text, and we'll talk a little bit about how we follow the thread through. And to do that, we're going to break it down and look at it sentence by sentence. We'll chunk it out a little bit, and then we'll just have a discussion about what we saw, what we thought about as we went through this process. Thank you, and just let me fade. So here we are, confronting the last of these paragraphs, and a task for which I feel absolutely inadequate, because I am, but I'm just going to brave it nevertheless, and we're just going to talk about this paragraph. Now, all of the previous paragraphs leading up to it, beginning with Baha'u'llah's statement, the world of existence came into being through the heat formed from the interaction between the active force and that which is its recipient, begins at a point before there was even substance in the universe, when there was just the active force and that which is its recipient and the heat generated therefrom. Later in that same paragraph, he introduces the word such as communicate the generating influence, and such as receive its impact. So therefore, introducing the concept of substance. In the following paragraph, on the Word of God, he introduces ideas of elements and substances, things that we can perceive, and the structure of the universe and what causes it. He explains that the Word of God is the cause that preceded the contingent world. And in another passage, Baha'u'llah explains that the world is contingent because it is preceded by a cause. And the cause that precedes it is the Word of God. And the Word of God is an entity. Then comes the paragraph that begins, everything must needs have an origin, and every building a builder. And he ends that paragraph with the words, describing it as this sublime structure, praising God, for the creator of this sublime structure. So that ends the discussion about the structure of the universe. Now he's going to talk about its utility to us. Look at the world and ponder a while upon it. It unveileth the book of its own self before thine eyes. So now introducing the idea of the world of existence as a book, a body of knowledge, that all we have to do is ponder a while upon it, and it reveals its knowledge to us, knowledge that is inscribed therein, inscribed by the pen of the fashioner, the all-informed. A knowledge that when accessed gives us clear explanations. Imagine that. And now this paragraph, nature, which I am going to assume refers to living nature, that is all living things, and the systems that support those living things, including all of the interactive support within living things and among living things, of which we are part, and that's what kind of separates it. So if the world of existence is a book, then nature is a very rich and informative chapter in that book. And the paragraph begins with these words, say, nature in its essence is the embodiment of my name, the maker, the creator. So embodiment implies a tangible evidence. So nature is a tangible evidence of God's attributes, maker, creator. Its natures, its manifestations are diversified by varying causes, and in this diversity, there are signs for men of discernment. But notice that it says varying causes, not various causes. Those are different. Those imply different meanings. Varying means ongoing variation. And this is absolutely true of nature, that it's continually varying. And it's continually being exposed to varying causes, varying influences. Nature is God's will and its in this case refers to God's will. Nature is God's will and its expression in and through the contingent world. Now, I know of two perfect expressions of God's will. One, the world of existence, including living nature of which we are part, of which we are the crowning glory. And the second of those, the manifestations of God. Both are perfect expressions of the will of God. And so there is a parallel, a mirroring here that we can't really ignore. And the implications of that you will have to contemplate on your own and come to your own conclusions about it. That nature, it is a dispensation of providence, ordained by the ordainer, the all-wise. Were anyone to affirm that nature, that it is the will of God, as manifested in the world of being, no one should question this assertion. So here, making it abundantly clear that nature, in this expression, is an expression of the will of God, just as the manifestations of God are an expression of the will of God. And that these two expressions appear to be equal. Were anyone to affirm that it is the will of God as manifested in the world of being, no one should question this assertion. It is endowed, nature, living nature, in my view, is endowed with a power whose reality men of learning fail to grasp. And what we are talking about here is the power of life, the life force. That's my view on it, the life force. What is this power? I can tell you a few things that I have concluded, at least, about the life force. One, it is intelligent. At every level of its expression, it is an expression of intelligence. By intelligence, I mean any deliberate, purposeful act. Any deliberate, purposeful act is inherently intelligent. And if we drill down into the inner workings of any living thing, even down to the molecular level, we see that it is entirely intelligent. Just think about replicating DNA, where that double helical spiral that is joined together by bonds, and those bonds during replication have to be unzipped. An enzyme forms a ring around the base of the DNA strand, which, by the way, is as long as we are tall, containing millions and millions and millions of bonds. And it spins at the speed of a jet engine, breaking those bonds, unzipping the DNA strands, and forming two mirror images that are half DNA strands. And then what happens? Other enzymes spring into action and build the missing parts, and fill in all the blanks. And we have two new DNA strands. All of this intentional acts. We see enzymes that have feet, that have pods, that walk from place to place. It is intelligent, and we know that living nature in its entirety is intelligent because it solves problems. Whenever nature is confronted with a problem, with a challenge, it finds a way to overcome it. And we call this adaptation. But its result is an intelligent outcome. The change in the shape of a beak, the coloring of an animal, a tree that grows on the edge of a river, versus a tree that grows in the middle of a desert versus a tree that grows in the high Arctic have adapted, have found a way to adapt to a challenge that confronted them, and successfully. What are the evidences of the success of life? Goodness gracious. We can't reckon them. It is a force that is so extraordinary, it is difficult to even contemplate how extraordinary it is. And we are part of it. We are within it and part of it. And that is what makes this chapter of the book of existence so rich. It is endowed, with a power whose reality men of learning fail to grasp. Indeed, a man of insight can perceive naught therein save the effulgent splendor of our name, the Creator. Say this, and this is referring to the power, it's a pronoun. Say this is an existence which knoweth no decay, and nature itself is lost in bewilderment before its revelations, its compelling evidences, and its effulgent glory. So this power, the evidences, the revelations, the compelling evidences of its effulgent glory have encompassed the universe. So, again, just Mike Robinson, but my thought has long been that this life force, this extraordinary, mysterious, powerful, intelligent force is infused throughout the entire creation and is as much a part of the world of existence as light and heat and substance. And everywhere and anywhere where the conditions are right, it will burst forth. So on this planet, life appeared. It was the big bang of life, if you want to put it that way. And it has exploded into this extraordinary thing we call nature in this world. I think I'm just going to leave it at that. And we can talk about these things in the open forum segment. And I thank you for your kind attention. Look at the world and ponder a while upon it. It unveileth the book of its own self before thine eyes, and revealeth that of which the pen of thy Lord, the fashioner, the all-informed hath inscribed therein, hath inscribed therein. It will acquaint thee with that which is within it and upon it, and will give thee such clear explanations as to make thee independent of every